proving Reaper is a fraud. Again.
I shot my ex-husband with a gun in the ass. My first ex-husband. Because I got married at 16, like a dumbass. It was like 11 months. I thought it was cool. So it was annulled. But...
So, what's this? You want to explain to the class how you're about. I don't know, 10 years off in age and more than slightly fucking wrong in method. A process that was prolonged by you, but not for disputes regarding assets, custody, you know, the normal shit. No, it was prolonged yet again because Reaper needed to be funded. Funded for a divorce, which she was given, and the court still had to send not only notice, but report her to the Collections Bureau. Not only that, but here on this charge and active warrant you had for 25 years and 5 months of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Which we'll get into later. In April of 1993, how old were you? That's right, 17, and although living with your first hubby, you haven't even gotten married yet. And yes, you heard, that's right, Reaper had an open warrant for 25 years. Up next, delusion and slander.
I found him cheating on me with a 13-year-old.
Oh, wow.
I was 16, he was 19, she was 13, and I caught him cheating. So I went and I grabbed the 22 and I shot him in the ass. He was ass up in the air.
Wow.
My God, it must be exhausting keeping up with all of these lies. Not only does your ex-husband, Paul, not on the registry, he has 0 charges. Well, he has charges, but he has 0 charges for statutory rape. Nor does he have any violent charges at all, including the brutal DV claims you made that would have ended in an arrest. But we'll get to that later. Had this happened, you would have had to have answered questions, and he would have had to have sought medical attention. Hence, the warrant wouldn't have stayed open and active for 25 years. Up next, how truly stupid she believes you all to be.
No jail time for that. Nope. Because in Georgia at that time, what was it? It was like if you caught your spouse in the act, then you could legally shoot them as long as they didn't die.
Wow.
So no charges were... I tell you what, though, he ran out the back door into the woods, which was like a half mile away from the house, and stood out there probably 3 hours. And then every time he started to walk out of the woods, I'd walk outside and he'd turn around and run back in butt naked. So I made him stand up in the woods butt naked for about 3 days with a bullet in his ass. Well, I don't know if you can still do it. This was in the 90s.
The claim that Georgia law in the early 1990s allowed a person to shoot a cheating spouse, provided the spouse survived, is false. Georgia courts had rejected adultery as a justification for shooting or killing a spouse or lover years before the alleged bullshit. Just to prove Reaper grossly wrong further, let's say the delusional shit coming out of her mouth happened as described. The absence of charges would have resulted from non-reporting or some other made-up circumstance she's likely to come up with. Still, it's not because Georgia law permitted it, ever. Older Georgia cases once recognized an extremely limited adultery-related doctrine. But nothing wildly close or specific as this. Georgia's Supreme Court expressly rejected even manslaughter versus homicide in 1977. Roughly 15 years before this alleged shit show, even the old doctrine was not a general rule that a person could shoot a cheating spouse as long as they didn't die. It's a lie fed from a woman who's told many. A woman who sits on her ass, lying it off, for a living, points fingers, with extremely dirty hands. Hands so dirty. Last year, when caught with a warrant, she doubled down and continued to lie. Come to find out, she also had an open warrant for 25 years. There's way more to that story. If you had a pot to piss in, Tara, I'd encourage Paul sue the fuck out of you. But you're 50 years old and have never even been able to keep a roof over your head. It is literally insane. You judge or talk shit about anyone. Get the fuck out of here.